This is Michael DeSilvis from New Hunter Church of Christ, DeSilvis Media. We're doing in the news segment today, dealing with some headlines. New Hunter Church of Christ put out a new sermon. That's our church here in Mechanicsville, dealing with our series on Ephesians, part 1 on how the church should look like here on earth, from Ephesians chapter 1, verses 15 through 23. So I would look at that sermon because it really is powerful. And I don't say that just to get you to look at it, it really is. And also, some interesting headlines. Have you seen the sticker? It's called, I liked it, so I copied the link. I usually do that on the channel and also on Facebook. But it says the Dirty Dozen. And the reason why it's called that, because there's a number of retails that are going to be open on Thanksgiving Day. See, we're teleprompter free. Can you tell? We made a mistake. We just keep going. Amen. But it says, these 12 are called the Dirty Dozen because they plan to open their stores on Thanksgiving Day to not allow their employees to have time with their family, valuable time with their family and friends. You know, like a lot of places usually do. And part of the 12 stores, of course, 7-Eleven should be in here because they're always open. They never close, ever. I used to work for them. It's horrible. They have bad hours, too. Don't really pay you all that much. But anyway, that's convenience stores. They don't really pay you all that good. Even though I was one of the best workers they had. That's what they claim. Until they let me go. Because my eyes didn't heal very well. So they laid me off. But anyway, part of the 12 stores, there's 12 stores listed here called the Dirty Dozen. It says JCPenney will be open on Thursday. Kohl's will be open on Thursday. Toys R Us will be open on Thursday. Walmart's always open, and that was always open before this. It's not nothing new. Target was always open. Sears, Roebuck, Best Buy, Dollar General, H.H. Gregg, that'll be open. Sports Authority will be open. And Belk will be open, and Nancy's will be open. These are all the 12 they listed in a rundown of called the Dirty Dozen. It says, share if you think that Black Friday should start on Friday like it's supposed to, like I think it should start on Friday and not on Thanksgiving Day, Thursday. I think this really says it all right here on Facebook. Let's jump to another article here real quick. Joshua has some encouraging words to say. And of course, our lineup of InfoWars news from InfoWars Alex Jones Show is there as well. The free commercial-free version, so you get to look at that. No Agenda show titled, what does it say? Get up here. It says justice or climate justice has been canceled. I guess is what they're trying to say there. Episode 776, take a look at that. It's just some humor and some, their version of humor and how they cover events. Also, there's a video I'd like you to look at on Facebook. The new 007 movie that came out, James Bond movie. It's called Spectre Film. Hints at the Paris attacks that happened 7 days prior when it was released, and actually gave hints to those attacks that happened in Paris, which is really interesting there, to say the least. And it's also worded in the intro song of that movie. If you watch the movie, it actually says it there. It's right there in plain sight. That's why they said writing on the wall. So look at that. I think you'll be interested in that. Really to look at. Also, my friend, I'm on something here. I just got stuck here. For Spiro, that's what we're going to call him here. I know his real name. I don't want to say it because I know it, but I think you need to really look at this video about New York City. That's why we put it on. The NYC, which is New York City Police Department, emergency respondents teams, and along with Homeland Security agencies, have had an active shooter drill, and that happened yesterday in New York City. And it also happened in a number of cities across the nation as well. Of course, they were only focusing on New York City, which is pretty interesting. Also, this comes from Dabu777, and I like what he said here. Paris, France is gripped by fear by water poison gear being stolen out of a local hospital after chemical, the chemical clothing that protects you from, biological attacks and other chemicals in the air was stolen from a local hospital there in France. So that was just late breaking within the last, 12 hours or so. And also, we reported on Crimea declares a state of emergency, or country of emergency, because they're a country, they're not like a state like us. They're a country, after power lines have been attacked or cut or destroyed by terrorist or jihadist groups or ISIS groups in that region. Then when they tried to go to fix it, they're threatened with guns and told them to leave and not to bother the area. So the residents there are without power. But like we reported the day before yesterday on this story from Dabu777 handle, his channel, they do have power restored to hospitals and government facilities and police and sort of that thing. But as far as the residents are without power, look at Matthew Williams. He's got a new CD out. He's asking you to go to his website. He uploaded a new video on Facebook, so you can go out and look at that in the interwebs if you're on Facebook. He's talking about a last challenge has began. He says, watch this video to find out more when and how that you can vote for me on the Nashville.com competition site there. And of course it's got a dash tag, this is on Twitter I guess, called Nash Next, which is where he'll be performing, or where he'll be performing and be voted on. Jeff Hoster is one of my brothers and colleagues and missionaries, a dear friend of mine in Christ. I met him in person. I met him at Roanoke and actually seen him at other churches. He's wonderful, a great missionary, a great Christian guy that you want to meet, and he's a good father. He's got lovely children too, and very blessed. And he's risking his very life to go over there to spread the word of Jesus. He's got an interesting article here. It says, when building a house is how it starts off. I would look at that. Last thing that you should do, or what last thing that needs to be done, is usually the electrical wiring work. And he's exactly right, and you'll have to read more about that, but he actually gives some good excerpts of wisdom there. Also, a friend of mine who actually does news herself, this comes from, I actually copied her link from her post. This was 21 hours ago. But basically what it says chickenpox vaccine or vaccinations now are causing shingles, which is becoming an epidemic in children and also in older adults. So that might be something to look at. This comes from a friend of mine. And this is a little humor here on Facebook. It's called the 12 Days of Christmas, or Facebook, the 12 Days of Christmas theme. They use that, but instead of saying Christmas, they have Facebook. And it gives you some 12. You might want to look at it. It's pretty funny, I guess, to say the least. And good saying for words. Jesus died for me and for you, and I will live for him. All right, that's a good thing. It says, what about you? How do you feel about this? And asking you just to always share our posts to bless many others. And that's really true. Rest is a lot here. Jeff Hoster also has a Bible verse that he wants to show us about judging others and how we're supposed to forgive people, and how a lot of people say they forgive people but really don't, because they still talk about them behind their back and gossip about them, and that's not real forgiveness that God speaks about. That's not even accountability. That's just being carnal and being trashy and not really being a Christian. And I'm not being mean, but it's the truth. It's Pharisaic, because that's how the Pharisees were. They're very much like that. And a lot of Christians are like that still today in churches, even though they claim they're real Christians. I ask you, I want to ask you a question. Do you read the Bible daily? Do you really know the shepherd? Do you read the scriptures? Do you know what it says in there? Or do you just go gloss over it during Sunday school hour and during the service time and not really give it much thought during the week? If you're like that, that's why a lot of stuff's happening in politics, why it's happening in our government, and why it's happening around the world. Because people have gave God a back seat instead of giving God a foreground or a hedge in their lives. They put him in the background instead of in the foreground. And photo and photography, you always want to have your subjects in the foreground and everything in the background. You don't worry. You kind of like want to look at the foreground unless you're focusing on the things that are behind the foreground. It's the background. So with God, you want him to be in the center, just like your subjects when you take a picture of a tree or a person or a group or a family. You want them to be clear and focused, right? Pretty. Well, it's the same is also true for Jesus. God needs to be focused and center in your life. He needs to be the centered always, all the time. And that's what people are lacking. And that's why we have many of the problems we have. Well, some things I like to speak about the refugees crisis here around the world as well as here at home in America. I think instead of having all these refugees come in here, I agree with what Ron Paul said. I think we should have a safe haven for these people. I don't think they should be in the general population. Because we've seen what happened in Paris, France, where they're doing the same thing and they had attacks. We don't know who all these people are. And a lot of times their background isn't fully being checked, and they're not being fully tracked, even though they're telling you on the news, spinning it that they are. They're lying to you, like they've been lying all along. If you believe a word that the politician says, they're lying from the time they speak to the time they finish. So, you need to really look at the real evidence of the truth that matters, that lies in the stickiness of the details of all the lies and deception that they're pulling with everything. And really just pull it out and say, look, why will we have refugees come in here when we're in trouble ourselves economically? We don't have a forever sustainable income to be able to support all these people coming in here. It's not our job to support these people. However, I believe we should have a safe haven in their country that's safe, or in another country, but not in our country. I mean, some people have suggested, well, let's put them in the FEMA camps or internment camps. No, because it's like they're prisoners. No, they need to go somewhere where they're safe, but where we're not at risk, because we don't know who's coming, if they're operatives, we don't know if they're spies, we don't know if they're soldiers, we don't know who these are, Muslim jihadists or ISIS. We don't know, but all these things are mixed in and mixed. And we're just allowing them to come in. And it's happening not just here, but all over the world right now in real time. And it's horrible. You've seen what happened in France. You see the escalation of what's happened in Belgium. You see what's happening in Crimea. You see, what happened in Maui with 24 people dead. I mean, do I need to digress anymore? Does that give you a point that this refugee idea is not working? The whole idea is they don't want it to work. They want people to die. They want people to be in fear. What we want to do is rise above that fear. Because why? We have God. God says, have no fear because I am here and I'm near you. And you don't have to be in fear with the government. You don't have to be in fear with all these terrorists running around with their, burqas on and having their ISIS flag waving in the sand. The ones that aren't true Muslims that are really, really just taking advantage of the Muslims too, and that are not causing violence here. And just giving all the Muslims a bad name really is what they're doing. It's going to end up happening. And people are just going to get so mad, and they're going to end up wanting to fight with Muslims that don't really have any problem with. They don't have a problem. They're not the one doing this. And that's wrong. Because the group is Muslim. A lot of people that are in the ISIS group are Muslim, recruited from the Muslim, who are extremists. They really are. And they are radicalized to do this because they want to dismantle all societies across the globe. It's like in France. I was telling, somebody over there in France, you have a lot going on over there. You have martial law right now. You can't have a gun unless you're hunting and sporting, and now I don't think they allow them to have that now. I think they've had over 800 raids within the last week, for terrorists, and they went and took all the people who had guns. Anyone who had a gun, they took it, confiscated, really by force. So if you had a permit and you had, the rights to have it, they just went and took it no matter what. They didn't care. That's what martial law will do here. They will go in your house to house, whether you got the papers or not. Those papers won't mean jack. When martial law is put in effect, all the rights you have are out the window. The rule of martial law is totally up to the government. It's like they'll tell you what to do, where to go, what not to say, what to feel. Do you want that kind of life? I don't. Do you want to lose your freedom? I don't. So that's why we need to get a grip on this refugees thing and why we need to stop this. We need to block the borders, put the borders up. That's why countries have borders. It's just like, I have skin on my arm. My arm has skin, right? Because it does. My arm here, it's got skin. And that barrier is there to keep infections out. Well, it's a good analogy because that's why we have borders and why countries have borders. It's for that very same thing, to keep bad people out. And that's why we screen people and why we should check people. We don't say that we do and then don't do it. Because we can't keep track of a Syrian guy that's here that's supposed to be heading towards Washington, but they have no idea where he's going. Because they can't even track the dude. They've lost him. So he could be anywhere. And it's just like all these other people that could be a threat. They're supposed to be venued, vac'd, so that they're safe. And some of the people that are supposed to be safe are actually terrorists because they did things. Some of the people that were arrested or rounded up by the FBI this past week were terrorists that were supposed to be vetted safe. You see where I'm going with this? This is not fear-mongering. This is the truth of what really happened. That's a sloppy oversight in this organization of how our government is running things. This is what gets countries and people killed and countries toppled. We have to get a grip on it. I love America. I love freedom. And I love, most of all, people. But we can't have love for each other. If we're in fear, we're fear-mongering and always scared of everything. That's what's happening over in France. They're so afraid if they fart, they think it's a gunshot. And some people might laugh at that, but it's not funny. They really do. If somebody slams the door, they'll think it's a gunshot. I'm serious. That's how scared a lot of them are over there. And see, people, we could laugh about that over here. It's not funny. Because if we have attacks over here, a lot of people will be just like that over here. Because that's what they want us to be, so we're not thinking. They don't want us to be rational. They don't want us to be thinking. They want us to be in fear, constantly in fear and dreading. That way we're distracted, that we're fighting with each other over blacks and whites and over, rights and saying whites need to be killed and blacks need to be killed, whatever. It's crazy, stupid stuff. I don't think any of that mess. It's nuts, so crazy town. This stuff happening in colleges is absurd. We don't need to go back to the 60s. We need to stay in the 21st century. Why do I see a lot of 60 mentality happening? Why? Because it's a breakdown of morals and of God in this country. That is exactly why. That's the real cause of the problem. When there's no morals in school, when they remove every aspect of God everywhere, and when they just mock and curse at God, that's where the problem is. That's the problem that gets overlooked. The solution is to reverse, to stop doing it and go back to God. It's not an idea or a theory, people. It's the fact. When this country was closer to God, our country was extremely profitable and blessed. Today, our country is being dismantled from the very foundations, people, because we are not doing that today. Do you understand? Do you copy what I'm saying here? I hope you do. That's why it's all the more why we need to do something. All this stuff about fear-mongering, saying this is offensive, all this political nutso correctiveness is what I call it, is nutso. It's childish and it's below our level of intellect. It's not even intelligible. To see people going after people's religion or going after what people say is ridiculous. and Hillary trying to shut down the Laughing Factory. That goes to show where their agenda is, people. The government's agenda, what the world or New World Order is about, is having control over every aspect of your very life. And not allowing you have free thought and free speech. And that's what they're already doing in some places in the world. They want to make that global, people. You know, I've read the TPP, a version of it. I've read the SIPA. I've read them. That's what they have in it. And they're written in such a way that they're a living document. If you know what that means, if you know about law, which I know a little bit about, they can write a locked document where they can go in and change it at any time they want to make it sound whatever they want, off the cuffs, and just add things and make revisions at whim. That's what a living, breathing document is in legal language, which is very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Not to scare you, but it's just a fact. That's what Obamacare is. You know, the healthcare system, everybody labels it Obamacare. But the new healthcare system is written in the same very language. That's why it keeps changing, and why our healthcare is degrading, and why they want to put other insurance, all other insurance that are private, out of business, so they can put us on this government crap. That ain't going to really help you or really give you anything as far as medical care goes once they get finished. You see what I'm saying? So you're better off with Humana, and better off with, you know, even better off with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Anthem, thank you. You're better off with them. But they want to run them out of business. See, that's something they're not telling you about on the dinosaur media, but that's what they want to do. They want to take out all competition, not just the insurance industry. I just use them as one example out of many. But that's what they want to do on all levels of any kind of business or competition. Because they want to be the one that's in monopoly. They don't want nobody to have freedom of choice. Because they're part of this deal, the New World Order is all about the death of everything. Your freedoms, your rights, your liberties, all the exchanging in, all for tyranny, which will result in false peace, which will result in a breakdown of social order. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. I studied the rules of engagement. This is what is in the manifesto, people. This is what they really want to do. It's not a conspiracy, because when it happens, you're going to say, boy, I wish I would have listened to that crazy guy, because he ain't so crazy now, is he? You know, because this is what they want to do, folks. I love you so darn much. I love this country so much. I don't want us to go down that path. And I hope there's more people out there like this. You got to understand what the danger we're in. It's not a fear, it's a fact, people. You know, this country was made on people that gave their blood, literally, for us. Does that mean anything to you, or are you too much into Nintendo and into PlayStation and Xbox that you're in some other world that you don't even know your history? That's what's wrong with a lot of this. That's why we have all this crazy stuff happening in colleges. That's supposed to be the highest level of education, but people act like they're in third grade with all this political correctiveness nonsense. That's basically what it is. All that BS is nuts, people. And I say that because I'm a preacher, but it upsets the dickens out of me to see people acting on that level when they're supposed to be the highly educated people. And why are people taking worthless degrees? With the way the economy is, why don't you take a degree that you can actually make money on? I mean, do I need to give an example and draw you a blueprint? I'm not being mean. I'm just telling the truth. Take a degree like in computers. Take a degree in medicine. Take a degree, just to give you just a couple of examples, in law. Make some money. Stop taking a degree in stuff that's not going to make you any money. Do you understand? Do you comprehend? Okay. So I want to make sure you understand this. Because a lot of y'all are taking BS degrees that will not amount to nothing once you graduate and get that piece of paper. It's not going to mean nothing that it's printed on. Oh, I got a degree in statistics when you can't really make any money with statistics. Oh, I got a degree in soil sampling. Ooh, yeah. Oh, that's what I get with all that money I owe. Ooh, but I got a degree. Get a real degree. You know, really. Grow up, learn, get your head out of your ass. Sorry, but you really. You know, get a real job. What happened to all the people out here? I want to give you something to think about. What happened to all the people out here that has careers? What happened to the people that were career-oriented, career-minded? You know, today it's hard to get real good help. When I used to hire people at 7-Eleven, when I worked there and I was an assistant manager. Because people don't want to work. The ethic isn't there. Because people want something for nothing. And I'm going to tell you something. Nothing. You don't get something with nothing. You got to do something. And if you don't understand that, you refugees coming over, you better understand that quick. Because you can't just come in here and get free stuff and not expect to pay for it down the line. Like the rest of us. You're taking money from us, which is putting us more in debt and ruining our country. It's not your fault, but you're not really contributing to this country. We're not getting nothing back by you being here. And I don't have nothing against you refugees, but you need to think about that. What are you going to do for us while we're trying to help you get out of exile? What are we going to get from it? A dilapidated, broken down, torn down nation? That's what we're going to get out of it. It's not your fault. You're not the problem. But there's a lot of refugees coming over here that are refugees, but really aren't. That is a big, big fraud. And it's happening not just here, but all around the world. Most of the people coming over here are not even refugees. I mean, they got cell phones, they got gear, they got nice clothes on. Refugees don't have those things. They're not given to them at the freaking border, people. They're coming in. They've been sighted. They've been spotted on camera coming in the border with this stuff. Okay? So these aren't refugees if they got cell phones and gear. And got backpacks full of stuff. You know, like nice stuff. We're not talking about old stuff. Clean shaven. Nice clothes. Soldier looking manufactured. We see it here in America. I reported about that a couple weeks ago. W7 also said something about it, and Alex Jones said something about it. You know, there's a lot of things going on that you all don't know or really are listening about because you don't care. It's like you're tuning it all out. Woo, 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 woo. Well, it's time to tune in. Because, you know, I heard a lot of people's sentiment think that, well, they, just to how crazy things have gone with the way people think now. Well, they've always they always done fear-mongering before about guns and everything, and they'll probably still do that, and that doesn't mean it's going to happen. That's what they want you to think. No, this time it's going to happen. Because the way the mind has deteriorated in this country, the mindset and the moral set, it's going to happen because we are allowing it to happen because we're putting our head in the sand like a bunch of wimps. Instead of standing up for real principle and real action. You understand what I'm saying? Do you copy that, soldier? Do you copy that, citizen? That's why it's going to happen. When it's happened in the past, yeah, it didn't happen because we had a different mindset. But it's going to happen because people are wimps. They don't have a spine. They don't have balls. They just do whatever they do and grovel because they're scared. That's what they want you. Remember, that's how I started this whole video off. So you're scared, so you won't stand up. Do you get where I'm going with this? That's why you don't want to be scared. You got to be brave. You got to be violent. You have to be a soldier for America. A true patriot. Not one that causes wars or terrorism, but a real American is really a true patriot. One that does the right thing, that works in places of government. One that has moral character and integrity. One that has an absolute vision and persona for this country to do something remarkably good and to stop evil in its face in its tracks. That's what a true soldier and a patriot American is really like. Are you one of those, soldier? Are you one of those, America? You think about it. This is in the news. Michael DeSilvis. Shalom. Take care. God bless. Be safe out there. And be brave. Remember, home for the brave, not home for the slave. Remember to use all your amendments so you don't lose them. Why do you think I say that? Because if they take away one amendment, they'll take them all away. You get me? You got it? Good. Share this video. Love you. Take care. Peace. I love you. I really do. Honest to God, I do. Let's wake up, people. Inform people. And let's stop this mess. Take care.